As the battle in Old Euryzania raged between Guy and Velgrynd, heroes fought at the Divine Tree's base to stop Feldway, while another force gathered on Rubellios's frontier. With Velgrynd's help, nearly 3,000 warriors assembled, including Pegasus Knights from Dworkin, Imperial Guardsmen from the Eastern Empire, and Holy Knights of Rubellios led by Hinata. Giants, elite warriors, and special units joined them under Dagura and Basara. Dubbed the Anti-Demon Realm Dragon Ivarage Alliance, the army lacked unity. Though many looked to Masayuki, real leadership was uncertain until Yaum, king of Farminas, lifted spirits with his authenticity and courage. His natural charisma won the warriors' trust, and before he knew it, he was chosen as their supreme commander, stepping into the role despite the overwhelming odds. Luminous, the mastermind behind the operation, convened with Velgrynd and Hinata to finalize their ambush strategy at Heaven Tower. With nearly 3,000 fighters assembled, they had to act fast. Velgrynd described the massive circular fortress, its 300-plus wide entrances making containment impossible. Sealing doors was unfeasible due to the tower's vast scale, so Luminous proposed surrounding it, placing the strongest fighters at the front and a rear guard to prevent enemy escape. The real challenge lay in coordinating the diverse forces. As an endless horde of phantom beasts loomed, Hinata braced herself to unify the factions, knowing the world's fate depended on their cohesion. A simple tent housed the world's most powerful leaders for a crucial strategy meeting, with only key figures present. Luminous, the driving force behind the apocalyptic declaration, led the discussion, with Hinata seated to her right and Louis to her left, while Gunther stood watchful behind them. Among the attendees, King Gazel, King Yaum, and Masayuki represented their nations, each accompanied by their trusted aides. Velgrynd, having gathered heroes through space-time connection, now stood by Masayuki while Ultima lounged in the background, her aides still recovering from battle. Adalman and his group provided much-needed levity, their relaxed demeanor easing the room's tension. With leaders, warriors, and strategists gathered, each carrying their own burdens and ambitions, the fate of the world rested on the decisions made within this tent. As the meeting began, Velgrynd shifted focus to a critical concern. Her sister, Velgrynd, and Demon Lord Guy. Silence fell as she revealed a third-party intervention in their battle, raising fears of Guy's defeat and an unchecked Velgrynd. While she wasn't aiding Guy directly, she assured the group that Testarossa was investigating, easing tensions. Returning to strategy, Velgrynd used to summon Demon Lord Leon's Magic Knight commanders, led by Alrose. Alongside them arrived unexpected allies, Misora and her comrades from Rain's faction, as well as Khan's unit under Misery. Though once unthinkable, demons, dragons, and legendary beings now fought as one. Meanwhile, Inglatia's refusal to send reinforcements limited their support. The discussion then shifted to their main threat, Destruction Dragon Ivarage. She emphasized the urgency of acting before the cryptid forces became overwhelming. Instead of spreading their forces thin around Heaven Tower, Velgrynd proposed using barriers to control enemy movement. Hinata and the Holy Knights would establish a holy field to neutralize magicule-based entities, but maintaining its coverage posed logistical challenges. A modified square formation was devised, using 4 ground and 4 aerial casters. Leonard and Cardinal Nicolaus volunteered, but more skilled casters were needed. Sar hesitated before stepping up, while Gregory admitted his inability to use the spell, shocking the group. Just as doubt set in, Queen Mulan asserted her expertise in barrier magic, backed by years of research and large-scale deployments. Needle and Oxian offered support as backups, solidifying the plan's execution. With their strategy set, the time for planning ended. Now, survival depended on flawless coordination and execution. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. With battle preparations complete, forces were strategically deployed under strong leadership. Arnaud and Nicolaus led the east, Fritz and Sar took the west, Riddis and Mulan guarded the south, and Bacchus and Leonard held the north. Yaum personally oversaw the southern defense to protect Mulan, while Leon's Magic Knights reinforced the barriers. Gregory, determined to shield Sar, joined the western front, where Glenda forced her way in despite past betrayals. Velgryn's space-time connection transported forces to their positions, with Luminous overseeing the battlefield and maintaining the holy cleansing barrier. Velgrynd herself prepared multiple other bodies to counter Ivarage. King Gazel's 500 Pegasus Knights remained on standby as an aerial support force. Troops were divided, 600 in the east, led by Hinata and Masayuki with Shin's black numbers, over 1,000 in the west, bolstered by Shin's Yamagiri, and the Binding Chain's Giant God Brigade. The south, held by Yao's forces and Ultima's black numbers, gained additional reinforcements as Misora summoned 60 named archdemons. In the north, 500 warriors, including elite vampires, guarded Bacchus and Leonard, with Adalman and Gadra leading Diablo's black numbers division. With forces set and strategies in place, the only task left was execution. The fate of their world rested on their ability to withstand the overwhelming threat ahead. The warriors stood prepared, but their confidence shattered the moment the enemy appeared, as despair swept over them, mocking their careful planning. A chillingly cheerful voice echoed across the battlefield, the voice of the world-destroying dragon, Ivarage, just as a small, unassuming girl emerged on the eastern front, her eerie presence unnerving all who saw her. The moment Hinata saw her, her ultimate skill king of fate, Fortuna revealed a horrifying vision. Countless warriors reduced to dust, survivors left broken and dying. She shouted a warning, but it was too late. Ivarage unleashed a blinding beam of destruction, its speed beyond comprehension. Velgrynd was the second to react, instantly swapping her alternate body beside Masayuki with her main body, deploying a full-power barrier. However, even at full power, it couldn't fully block Ivarage's might. The aftermath alone devastated the battlefield, killing most of the warriors. The eastern front collapsed into a hellscape. At that moment, Luminous intervened, casting Sanctuary Resurrection, reviving the fallen within an expanded magic field. Those completely obliterated couldn't be saved, but Velgryn's presence had narrowly prevented total catastrophe. Nikolaos, maintaining the holy cleansing barrier, was instantly killed, causing a brief barrier collapse. But Hinata restored it as Nikolaos revived. Even seasoned warriors, accustomed to death and resurrection, were paralyzed by fear. Velgrynd, their strongest combatant, barely survived despite fusing her alternate selves. As Masayuki helped her stand, the true horror dawned. This devastating force was only a child. If she was this powerful now, what would she become? Doubts spread like wildfire. Was resistance even possible? Above, another crisis erupted as cryptids breached the holy purification barrier, forcing King Gazel's Pegasus Knights into battle earlier than planned. The reserve forces, meant as reinforcements, were now thrust into immediate combat, worsening their already dire situation. Yet, humanity had not lost. As morale crumbled, Luminous commanded the warriors to cast aside fear, vowing to bring them back if they fell. Hinata followed with a rallying cry, refusing to let them surrender. Calgurio roared to his troops, reminding them of Velgryn's sacrifice. Inspired, the Imperial soldiers found their resolve, refusing to cower. Shin, Testeros's right hand, let out a chilling laugh, reigniting the Black Legion's bloodlust. 200 Black Legion warriors rose as one, their fury directed at the cryptids. The battle had only begun, and while victory seemed impossible, defeat was no longer an option. Even in the face of despair, they chose to fight until the bitter end. The war for survival had begun in earnest.